I played on your recommendation. Well, I guess it wasn't really
It's
a
my
recommendation, was it?
anti-recommendation, yeah.
Yeah. I played a bit of, and you played a bit of
Yes.
Benedict.
The
We've said
last
it
AKA
case
wrong.
of Benedict Fox.
The last case of Benedict Fox. We've
Yeah.
said it wrong so many times. I've forgotten what it's actually called.
I'll let you take this
Um,
away, but I'm still upset over this, but I'll let you explain why.
yeah. Well, so long story short, Josh baited me into playing a really bad game.
Yeah.
By saying it was bad. The bastard.
Yeah.
So Benedict Fox is like a Metroidvania, which is very Cthulhu-y and has a kind of Tim Burton-y art
Yeah.
style-ish sort of thing. Which is the part that I really liked. It's basically the setup is you travel back to your family home and your dad has been murdered and he's set up a puzzle that you have to solve and it's like a game is afoot sort of thing. It's fun and running around the house. It has this really kind of it's like a cutaway, like a doll's house. So as you're traveling from room to room, which is just left, right, and platforming and stuff. The camera's kind of zoomed in a way that's kind of like weirdly uncomfortable as you're just running around the
Yes.
house, and
Yeah.
it does a really good job of like, oh, you're in the attic. Here's some creaky footsteps and like just the ambience and like there's a glass. I don't know what are they called? Not gazebo. Gazebo?
Um. Well, like
A
a
greenhouse?
Greenhouse,
looking
yeah.
thing?
conservatory.
Conservatory, yeah, attached to the house. And as you go out there and there's rain hammering on it, and I was like, this is really fucking
It
cool.
does.
I don't know
It
what
does.
Josh is talking
Yeah. It
about.
does stuff as well, where
This is
like you
awesome.
go to a locked door, and it's almost not like first person, but it zooms in on the door or something, and it'll look really nice, and there'll be like lots of really like cool detail and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
lots of
You're picking up lots of little like nubbins, and your
yeah.
guys commenting on them, and it's cool. Um, and then
Then you play
it
it.
then you play the game, and it just kind of all falls apart almost instantly. I think you said I didn't even bother beating the first boss,
No,
right?
no, I couldn't.
um,
I tried it like I think like 5 or 6 times, and
yeah,
I I was failing to the point where I didn't feel like it was too hard. I felt like I was doing something wrong, and I didn't know. Like, had I missed something? Had I missed like an upgrade, or should I?
yeah.
What's going on here?
So I had exactly the same thing as you. So the combat in this game is you have like quick melees, a charged melee, which I didn't find useful even once, and I
Nope.
got quite far. And then every time you get hit or you're hitting people, you're charging up this gun that you have, and you can do a kind of big shot with your gun that you can either finish off an enemy or you can kill like a completely different enemy. Like if there's some ranged thing harassing you, you can quickly
Yeah.
take that out. Um, there is a dodge which felt awful to use. I guess yeah, and there's a
No. Yeah. Yeah.
parry which felt like completely overpowered. And that's where I was going wrong. In the first boss is this like anglerfish looking thing, and it's like doing these tentacles that like kind of slam down. And I was like, oh, it comes up with these big red zones where these tentacles are gonna hit. And I was like, oh, it wants me to dodge. No, it doesn't. It never wants you to dodge. The dodge is useless.
You parry those?
Yeah, you just parry. You just press the parry button, which I think is control, and you're completely immune for a good like half second. And it made the boss completely trivial. It
Oh,
was
for
easy as
God's
hell.
sake! Because I was dodging, and the dodge is
Yeah.
awful.
Nope, wrong.
So the dodge is the best way I can describe it is it's on the right stick,
Yeah.
and you dodge either to the left or to the right, and it kind of feels really weird. And it's also, I just don't know. It's just a bad feeling dodge. It's just
Yeah.
in a game that you
Um,
have to dodge a lot. At least I thought.
It's
Yeah.
also yeah, like and it's not easy. I say it trivialized that boss, but like obviously I had to get to that point. But like the game is kind of Dark Souls level of hard, I guess, is where I'm going with that. Um, where like every hit matters and stuff. But your guy controls like a like a tank, like a shopping trolley
Yeah.
full of watermelons or something. It's like if you're standing still, your guy is like facing a direction and you want to run the other way. The guy first does a 180 turn on the spot, and then because he has like momentum, he has to start moving, but he starts from a standstill. So it's like I'm trying to dodge these tentacles, I imagine, like you did, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to quickly run back the other direction I was just coming from. And it's like, no, he has to think about turning around, then he turns around, then he slowly goes from a jog to a sprint.
Oh, it's
and
horrible.
Like,
it just
I'm
feels
already
awful.
dead. And it feels terrible.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, I think we do need to recognize the fact that this is the second game, which is all about powering yourself up through the art of tattoos. Well, you didn't get that far, did you?
No, I didn't know.
Okay, well there you go. It joins Far Cry in
Far Cry 3?
Far Cry 3, yes. It being tattoo-based progression.
One issue I had with this that you apparently didn't have, but I did some Googling and a lot of people shared this issue, is for me, this game stutters like crazy. To the point where, it's a nice looking game, but I can run this comfortably, in theory, on my hardware. And whenever I went into like a new room or the camera would pan, it would just be like, and then it would catch up. And it felt to the movement that already felt not great. It was just another layer of like, I just
can't be bothered.
I just can't be bothered. Cannot be bothered.
Yeah. And you didn't even get to the truly awful bits, which was
the rest of the game.
Puzzle solving. The rest of the game is, as you're going through the world, you're seeing these symbols everywhere.
Yes.
And sometimes they're scrawled, sometimes they're like carved, sometimes they're written down.
Oh yeah, like the God of War runes kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah, kind of like Nordic runes, they look a bit like.
Yeah.
And I got to a point pretty early on in the game where I thought I had to progress by like figuring out parts of this. Yeah. And I spent ages, I wrote notes down, because I love a good like rune puzzle like that, where you're trying to like, what was it, like Fez and stuff like that, where you're trying to decode like a numerical language almost.
Yeah, get out the notepad, the witness kind of thing.
And and it has this like cool, and I was like writing down, and I was like, okay, I know this number means this number, this rune means this rune, and I was like slowly figuring it out, but I couldn't. I was like, I'm missing something, and I went back and I had an explore, and what I was missing was just a paper that just told you all the answers to all the puzzles. And so it's like, I really fucking hate when the puzzle for a game it's not solving the puzzle, it's just inputting, it's just being annoying and inputting
it's finding
the
answer.
Yeah, exactly. And like you get this thing where you can basically imprint these runes on a key, and then that key becomes, I have to get the right number on this key through runes. And it's like, the puzzle wasn't figuring out what number I needed. It was like, I have to use this fucking god-awful UI to put this number into this key. Oh,
it's terrible. The issue as well. It's just like, if a puzzle is weird or is, it's bad, you kind of like, I don't even know how to word this. You kind of like don't trust the rest of the game anymore, because I don't trust that you have good puzzles.
I don't think you're as clever as you think you are.
Yes. So it's like, I'm not going to, like you say, like you got into it, I'm not going to write notes anymore. But like, what if they do want you to write notes? Well, it's like, well, you fucking taught me not to,
Yeah.
And it's lots of little things. Yeah, like if you can't, unfortunately, if you can't develop good combat or good movement, maybe your puzzles aren't good either. Because puzzle creating, you kind of forget about it, but it's another entirely different skill set that you can be bad at.
Yeah. And I get like, it's one thing to tune combat difficulty, right? But a whole nother thing to be like, what if someone is just too dumb to figure out the puzzle that we've made, and that's where they just drop the game because they can't be bothered.
I feel like you don't see that a lot as well. I feel like you see a lot of games where it's like, this game has bad combat, this game has bad movement, bad shooting, whatever. You don't always hear a lot of like, this game just has bad puzzles.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird.
Well, this one does.
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Well, I found one. It's this.
The reason I recommended this to Will is because I was actually pretty excited about this game. It had popped up in a few like Xbox indie events and stuff, and because it looks really good, it really stands out amongst other like indie games. And I was really excited. It came out this day. No reviews, that's odd, but we won't worry about that. We'll just play it when it drops. And I think it's really weird, because I think at that point I'd played so many kind of like good games in a row, I hadn't mentally prepared myself for the fact that this could be bad.
Yeah.
Is that weird? Like, I was just like, yeah, it's going to be a good game that I'll play and I'll finish, and it'll be really good.
I think because it has all the trappings of like an indie darling, like an Inside or a Limbo. You know.
Yeah,
it looks the look. It walks the walk. It just doesn't.
Other Metroidvanias that are really good. Again, we mentioned it earlier, but like Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps.
Yeah.
Just like every other game I think of in this genre that looks really good is also a really good game.
Yeah.
And this just wasn't. I feel betrayed. I feel like I tricked myself
into getting excited for a game that isn't very good.
And this is on Game Pass, right?
Yes,
this is on Game Pass. But
I never hit to Microsoft.
Another exclusive banger for Microsoft.
Yeah. That's pretty much, I think, all there is. Okay. One thing, really wound me up. I can't let it go without mentioning it. You get a double jump pretty early on, but it's a grapple hook double jump. It's a double jump, but your guy needs something to grapple onto to double jump, which means as you're running around, 90% of the game is spent in caves where you always have something to grapple to. But occasionally, you'll be in a big cave, your guy won't find anything to grapple to, and your double jump will just turn off. And it's like, I'm not running around thinking about whether or not my fucking grapple hook double jump is going to work.
Just give me a fucking double jump.
So the amount of times I would go to just jump over an enemy because I'm just traveling past him because I'm just exploring, and my guy just fully face plants right on top of him, and I'm like, oh yeah, the grapple hook, right? And it's like, it sucks. It's a hard platformer. You don't get many mistakes like that, and I'm just like, oh, cool, yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah.
That's fucking wound me up. Good lord, that was annoying. I don't know. The game has a really nice style, but it's probably one of the worst controlling one of these I've ever played, which is impressive in itself.
It was so hard to find opinions about this as well, because it came out around the time everyone was talking about the new Star Wars game. So every new review that was coming out on websites or every like thread anywhere is like Star Wars good, Star Wars bad, Star Wars laggy, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like you find two people on Reddit like, is Benedict Fox any good? It's kind of bad. And like someone else being like, yeah, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, and like when I got stuck on this puzzle, my first instinct was to be like, okay, I'm missing something. Let me go to Reddit and see what they say, or like forums in general. Let me see what they say. And it's like, because the game is kind of bad and also doesn't work for most people. It's like the perfect storm where literally nobody had even gotten this far. All anybody was talking about was like, hey, is this game kind of control like ass to you? Like, yeah, it does. And then next thread, hey, this game doesn't run very well. No, it doesn't. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but where do I find the burnt page that he keeps going on about? Guys, please, I need to find this burnt page.
That's the main reason why I tapped out. Was like I said, I wasn't sure if I was doing something wrong with the boss or if I'd missed something. And when I was trying to Google if I'd missed something or something was going on, I could not find anything. So I was just like, I'm not bashing my head against this. I'm just gonna play something. I'm gonna play Star Rail. Like,
go back to dailies. Yeah.
So,
do you think that Star Rail like purposely sabotaged these other games just so it would be like,
it wouldn't surprise me.
I think someone on the Star Rail team knows someone on the Benedict Fox team for sure,
and the Redfall team as well,
and the Redfall team. Yeah, well, they're all the same team. It's the Game Pass team.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah, Steve, you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, Benedict Fox, don't buy it. Don't even play it. That's my recommendation.
Don't even play it.
I would say it's one of those games where I'm like, even if they fix performance, it's just not. It's just not. Very
Watch
good.
a YouTuber you like and find funny, play it. That might be entertaining.
Yeah,
but don't play it. Don't play it yourself. God no.
Don't reward these people. Wow, that's really harsh. It's not that bad.
Worst game I've ever played.
It feels I think this is like their first game, right? And it's like, I'm like, art style, great. You guys did a great job. Everything else, you maybe need back to the drawing board on that one.
Yeah, give the artists a pat on the back. Just the artists, not the programmers, not the marketing.
Yes, exactly.
Just the artists.